Tonight, on this edition of The Small Interview, we interview the original Cafe Girl, actress and producer Hreha Dugal, and Cafe Girl actress, director, and writer Brittany. Hello and welcome to the Small Interview with Glamour Dave. I'm your host, David Glamour Dave Nienow, and this happens to be the first episode of this new series. This happens to be not only the first episode, it's also an emergency show edition because the reason that the show even exists is because I had a guest cancel for Rogue Artisans and Crafters, and I needed to fill the time here at the studio. So the Small Interview is my backup emergency show production whenever a guest cancels on one of my other shows. And so today I happen to have two wonderful friends of mine that I'm going to interview. And so I have Hreha Dugal, owner of Cafe Girl Productions, Brittany, director and music composer and actress and producer for Cafe Girl Productions. And so we are just going to have a nice, fun conversation about everything that is going on in the world of Cafe Girl Productions and everything else in the lives of these two lovely, wonderful women that I consider wonderful friends. And so let's get the interview going.
Okay,
so,
small interview it up.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
So to begin with, we'll start with you, Hreha.
Okay.
So,
Hope we get it right.
Looks so scared.
oh, this is not 60 minutes. We're not here to dig in the deepest, darkest secrets. We're having fun.
Here we go.
Okay. So what's the latest in Cafe Girl Productions?
Okay, so right now we are filming some more of the continuing series of our Doctor Who fan fiction, which is, last year we did Heartsick and Homesick, and that's out right now. And then right now we're filming Mindsick, which is written by Brittany, and it's directed by this person named Cosmo D'Agato. And then there's Timesick, which is written by me, and it's directed by her. And it's just a continuing, Mindsick is the continuing story of four of the characters that you know and love. And then Timesick is kind of a companion series that shows what happened before Homesick on the Time Lord planet of Gallifrey.
All right, okay.
And we actually were filming this morning in this studio in the green screen.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was here to help you with that. And so we had a lot of fun getting that done. And I have to wonder, you got Heartsick, Homesick, Mindsick, and Timesick. And is there going to be a time when there's going to be a sick? You know, how many variations of sick can we come up with?
How many things can we come up with without it sounding weird?
I don't know what the next one will be. I don't know. We might not even use the word sick because we do have one more installment next summer, and then that's the final. We're already starting to plan for that.
I have a working title for it that it just made me think of it when I was doing drafts of it. It was Memento Nobis, which means remember us in Latin.
Okay.
So.
Which is a good way to end. So we don't know. We don't know if we'll go with that same. The whole entire series is now just called the Time Keys. So you can go on YouTube. It'd be like Time Keys and find it. Or
find us.
Google
yes, that's where I was.
The various social media platforms.
That was stuck in my mind when I was creating your lower third for your director lower third, and I typed in director for Time Keys, and I thought. But then I thought, no, that's not right.
She directs everything.
You know, right? So then I had to double check. It's Timesick, but Time Keys is still a thing.
Yeah, Time Keys is like we've decided to call it the whole thing.
It's the umbrella.
Right.
Yeah, because they're searching for the key of time, and then there was last summer there was the band, the Time Keys. Fee and Jane, so we just kind of thought that was, and then on YouTube, it's been for over a year, if you just type in Time Keys, it's just really easy.
It's the name of the YouTube channel.
Yeah, okay, right, that's where that comes from.
That's the whole thing now,
Time Keys. Okay, so now how far are we into the production process for this summer's production?
Well, we actually have a couple more weeks left on Mindsick.
Right.
And hopefully we'll get that done by August 19th. We have probably 4 more weeks left on Timesick, getting schedules together for people to work together. It can be kind of difficult, so we're just working out schedules and making sure that everybody can be there at the same time. So, but
Yeah.
it's going pretty well. We got some good stuff.
All right. And so at what point do you estimate that because after all the production time's done, then you got to go into the post-processing and editing, fix all the special effects stuff that has to be done. Like after what was done this morning for all the green screen stuff, you got to go in and add all that special effects stuff digitally. So when do you expect the new series of episodes to actually begin to be released and premiered?
Coming 2019.
2019, okay.
As far as we got 2019,
Yes,
sometime.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're going to be, Cafe Girl's going to be releasing season 1 of Nate and Laura on How They Met September 15th. And so I'm busy cranking, me and another producer are busy editing that so we can get that.
Right.
And then we start filming season 2 while we're in post-production for Time Sick and Mind Sick. And then we'll go into post-production for season 2, and then we'll probably start getting ready to film the final. So it's like this continuous
Yeah,
cycle.
it's a big cycle. Yeah.
It's like it almost sounds like a real production company.
What?
Yeah.
Are we there?
We were talking
That's
about
wow.
someday what we're going to be like. We're coming up with, some of the other actors and I were coming up with, and Brittany were coming up with some funny ideas about what we're going to be like someday.
Yeah.
And remembering what we are now, when I would drive my car and load it up with like the craft services and bags, all the props and boxes, the equipment, and the costumes, and just drive to set to set. It's like someday we'll have big trucks that take it from place to place. And we'll just arrive and sit in our trailers in our director
Wait
chairs.
for our turn.
Yeah. We will
Well,
just be like,
you've gotten to a pretty productive point right now, so that's something to be proud of and to.
well, yeah.
But still, money is an issue, right?
Yeah.
We're still waiting for the
Yes.
money to flow in.
Very difficult.
www.patreon.com/Cafe Girl Productions.
That's right. Yeah.
And you get a lot of incentive to join, to become a patron. It's some fun stuff.
Yeah.
There's t-shirts and merch.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
there's if you become a patron and you're on Facebook, you can like look up the Cafe Girl patron only group and ask to join, and it's secret, only patrons. And we have a lot of fun. You get to see like behind the scene, like pictures and like live videos of us on set, and then jokes and stuff is passed about, and you can talk to some of the other producers that are in that, like me and Brittany and some others, and it's You get pre-release of like all like, so when Time Sick or Mind Sick comes out next year, if you're a patron, you get like to watch it 7 days before the rest of the world does. And there's lots of other things, like you get to, when a certain level, if you have a script, you can set it in, and we'll, like that's the $30 level, we'll look at your script and say, oh yeah, let's see if we want to film this.
Yeah, I'm at that level with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we
And
go.
in fact, I even have my own Patreon page as well. Might as well take advantage of this space right now and tell you that if you want to help improve the quality of my show productions here at RVTV, you can go to patreon.com/Glamour Dave and be a contributing patron to help me improve the quality of my work here as well.
And we patronize him.
That's right.
Cafe
Yes,
Girl
we
does.
patronize each other. Yes, in more ways than one. So let me tell you, yeah, we have a good time doing that. Yeah. So
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Lost the train of thought.
well, I do that to some women. So that's to be so. Okay. So we're working on trying to get into that money situation with all of our production work and stuff. And now let's talk about Nate and Laura, because that's something that I helped you with earlier.
Nate and Laura and how they met.
Yeah. So what's that about?
It's about it's a romantic comedy. So that's the first thing, and yet there's a lot more going on and as we're going through it, all the actors, there's like more, I would say 8 main characters, 4 girls, 4 guys.
Right, okay.
And there's an element of and I wrote it and I didn't really even think too much about it, but there's this element of each main character is on their own trying to find something to fulfill them and find whatever that is. So there's like kind of that spiritual quest that each of them go on.
Okay.
And they all go on it in a very different way. Some of it is finding love, some of it is, going out into the world and trying to like look out, and some are, just different ways.
So it's kind of, it's and it's kind of like a romantic comedy kind of a series.
Yeah, with a little bit more going on.
Okay. So
It's
a
very
little-
funny too. It's
so
hysterical.
So it's a little bit adventure, you could say, maybe.
I think the Time Sick and Mind Sick is more of an adventure, Time Keys is more of an adventure. Nate and Laura is more of a rom-com, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing that's special about Cafe Girl, I always have to say this, it's a benefit company. So the stuff that we try to do, we seek to do, is something that will benefit society.
Yeah,
And that's actually a thing. So that, when people send in their scripts, we have to look at
So
it.
when
that way.
so you're looking for stories whose the basis of the story, the theme of a story is kind of positive, kind of trying to find an angle that is that are going to kind of like help people in a way from what they're going to be watching.
Yeah, it's
Right.
without trying to preach and be like, this is about this,
Right.
but it puts it in a way that is entertaining but brings awareness to
Right.
it, and then enhances society for the better.
Right.
So like for some
really-
reason, Time Sick and Mind Sick and Heart Sick and Homesick always has this element of mental illness.
Yeah.
Nate and Laura has that kind of like domestic abuse is one of the
Yeah,
facets
right.
of Nate and Laura, that they have to, they rescue their friend from, basically.
Right.
And the other things too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice to be part of something like that wants to put out positive content, because there's just so much
Yeah.
nowadays too that is not at all positive content that I see on television or movies, and it's like, why did they make that? What was the point of that?
Yeah.
And then people really need to hear that, that like there's still hope in the world or whatever. There's things that are going on that need to be made aware of.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to be part of this.
And you're one of the key writers for Cafe Girl, in addition to being the
She's
director.
everything.
You're the director. You're an actress. You're the
she's my
music
right-hand
composer. You just
man.
have to do. You just have to do everything, don't you?
My
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's directing has been the only other thing I've directed was like I was maybe 19 or 20, and I did a really silly short film for one of my friends, and that was it. And it was only like 5 minutes long. And so taking on this was a really interesting challenge, and I thought, how in the world am I going to do this? Because I've never done it before, but
Right.
I've learned so much, and I've actually learned a lot about myself that I really actually like directing, and it's just a new facet about myself that I've never really thought I would do, but
Yeah,
it's
right.
wonderful, and I like being able to bring things to life in the way I see things and how I can, and being able to adapt to what we've got before us, and working with actors. And the actors that we have are obviously wonderful, wonderful actors. We have some very, very talented people in the Valley. I'm talking about all
yeah.
of you people out there.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's just,
Yeah, these people.
it's more of a treat than anything else. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
we have
it's-
fun on set.
yeah, you
We
know,
have it's very cooperative, collaborative, to borrow that from one of the local theaters.
Yeah. No.
But it is very, family oriented.
Yeah.
We're every time we do a project, like right now, the Time Sick and Mind Sick, we're the Sick Fam. And then there's the Nate and Laura, I think it was like the Nate and Laura Fam or whatever,
Yeah.
It's like always a fam. Like you always gain every project that I've ever done, and we've done even before Brittany, there was a couple, and it was, they're all, I look back on them fondly.
Yeah. Well, as I became involved here at RVTV and became friends with you and learning everything I have through here, and all the network connections I've made through here with other entertainment people in the Valley. I mean, I find it to be a really great group of supportive people.
Yeah.
There's an extremely supportive community, and I find that really an amazing thing to see. And through here, I've established some really great, wonderful friendships, including the two of you. So which is why you're here.
And the ones that aren't, we usher to the door. Like, get out if you're
It's so
not.
refreshing, isn't it? I mean, sometimes it's just, you find a group of people and you don't know, what they're going to be like when you first start out. And then I watch people that are, who we bring into to Cafe Girl,
Yeah.
go through that thing. And I went through the same thing. And then I see them finally relax and say, oh, these are really nice people.
And we
Yeah.
have some new blood coming in
Yeah.
this year. It's always neat for me to see where it started and to see how we just new people keep coming in and like kind of joining, and it just like, and they all just kind of fit right in.
We're
And
growing.
if they don't, they just kind of disappear, and we're like, okay.
Yeah, and it's you know, and I find that it's that through the support that basically comes through everyone around me, that you know, I've expanded my skill set, and I've achieved things
Exactly.
that quite frankly I never thought of I would have achieved a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
And I notice, well, like for me, I don't really see myself too much in the techie side, like all these guys I hear in front of the camera or behind the camera. I see myself as more, I realized, like Brittany's kind of fallen in love with the director thing. I have directed before, but I thrive more in the actor, writer, that kind of realm, and then the producing side, which is kind of, you know, managing and making sure everything's set up, and getting the money and whatever all that is. But I have enjoyed doing stuff at RVTV or having the skill set to do script supervising. I'm learning that, and directing or being on camera here, just so I know what it goes into the people out there right now that are running the cameras, and having that understanding, and what it's like to just stand there with a boom mic or do the clapperboard or be a PA. Even with before I was doing stuff before Cafe Girl, when I would just be working on a film, I enjoyed just doing that, just because I think it enhances my own acting and writing ability and producing.
Yeah. You got to be willing to do anything, really. I mean, as far as like working on a set goes, whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, you really have to have that mentality of what can I do to help?
Yeah.
You know,
until like you get big enough
it's a
that
team
you
project.
can't, that you're like SAG, and then everybody has their roles. But
Yeah.
I think it's just good for any starting out artist to have an understanding of what goes into everything, because then you're just a little bit less egotistical. You're like, oh, I know that you are valuable, even if you're a PA, you're just as valuable as the principal actor. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now, in terms of you being a principal writer for Cafe Girl, what attracts you to a story idea that gets you to then start that process of writing and getting a story done?
Well, I know for Heartsick, it just literally started with one dream I had of me running through hallways, saving children with the doctor from darkness, and that was it. And it just kind of took me over. It was like, you know, it was like straight from God, that kind of thing, inspired, and I had to write it out. And I think I just told the idea to Leah. She said, hey, let's get this produced. And this entire script came out just within like 2 weeks over Christmas break. And that was all it took. And because I had the feeling of I had to finish it, I had to get the story finished. With Mindsick, I had actually written a script before that was a similar kind of situation with Heartsick. I just kind of wrote it out and it came out, and it was a continuation of the story. Like some of the themes that are actually in the final script of what we have of Mindsick were there, but Leah and I, after I'd written that, talked, and we had some more ideas where we wanted to go even further. So we kind of I kind of incorporated all into that script, and what came out was the final draft of what we have for Mindsick now. So that was an interesting process, more because I had to think ahead of time more of what the different elements of what Leah had told me and what she wanted to happen in the story as well, and also what themes and character. And there's as opposed to Heartsick, there were 2 main characters. Mindsick, there's 4 main characters.
Right,
so you got all these character dynamics between these 4 people, and like some of them, you know, they don't really like each other that much. So you have to have interesting character arcs too. Meanwhile, you got this story with bad guys and all this stuff, and you got to make it fast and interesting and exciting. It's also Doctor Who, and it was a lot to take in, but I just kind of, you know, I had to sit down, you know, think about it, write whatever I could, and then come away from it, pray about it, come back to it, and just let it happen chunk
Yeah.
by chunk. And it finally happened. I revised and revised. And it was really a labor of love this
Yeah.
this time around, but it was so rewarding.
Yeah.
And just even beyond now, I've been writing like all kinds of chunks of stuff because we keep talking about these wonderful ideas that we have for the ending of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And just all these scenes, it's been more like the process of all these scenes kind of coming out, just that are in my heart really, that I have to let out and write and have written. So that's where I'm at right now, but eventually they have to be all put into a big old epic script. So it's an interesting process. It's different, but at this point right now it's all these different ideas that I need to pluck from my mind and put into something cohesive.
Yeah, right.
And the motivation really to get it all done is because, again, I have to tell this story. I have to get it finished, and it's a great story.
So when
wonderful.
when everything comes to an end, like you do like your final wrap up series like next summer.
I don't even want to think about it.
Okay. Then because right now everything is broken down into like episode segments for web series usage. But at a certain point, are you going to like take all this together and edit it all into one single master movie?
That'd be interesting.
Very, very long movie. If we all put them all together, it'd be like longer than Gone with the Wind or something.
It would be long. It would probably be about as long as all three of the Lord of the Rings movies combined. I think.
You'd have to break it up into 3 different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I kind of like the way it is.
You can make the
it's
Heartsick
unusual. I think
movie.
a lot of the production companies do a lot more. They do the short films and they do that, and they go around and I want to do that. And we want to do that, but I'm really liking that there's this unique quality of the web series because, and even Nate and Laura is a web series, that's where the world is going. Facebook has, Facebook Watch and with Netflix and Vimeo and all of that, TV is not necessarily what it used to be. It's all more streaming and online. So, and with YouTube. So it's actually a really good
with everyone so
it's a unique
choice.
Spin.
Yeah.
and everyone's watching everything on their phone or their tablet or their watches at this point,
Which
right?
is weird.
I mean, it's like those media dictate a different a different timing.
And you can reach people in a different way.
Yeah.
And we do want to send, with Nate and Laura, episode 1, I do want to try to send it to some film festivals and see if it can go somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very unique and it's kind of separates us. And we also have a raccoon puppet. It's like, what's special about your
We have Racky. He's quite special.
Yeah.
We think he's going to someday be like a Disneyland mascot.
His tail half falling off and one hand.
Well, that can happen. You get
I've seen some things.
you get Cafe Girl Productions built to a certain point that Disney decides, we got to buy you out. Then then at that point, Racky could become a Disney character.
We'll just have next to Universal Studios, we'll have our own thing.
That can happen. You know, we just keep working hard at everything, and and it can happen.
Dream big.
So
working up to my trailer.
I think the next thing is Night Court fan fiction web series.
There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, it's. Night Court has. There's a cult following to it, so that could warrant.
It's a very different kind of cult following.
Yeah,
than
that's right. Yeah.
Be a good niche.
Yeah.
I don't know about fan fiction. That's there's a limit to all the fan fiction you can. Beverly Hills 90210 fan fiction. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's.
Well, it's
I'm dating myself right now. My age.
It's but beyond all the web series stuff. Cafe Girl has produced a couple of feature films. Right?
So short films, Catatony of the Fairies, Daggers and Min Smiles, which she was in. She was the lead in that. And then we're also slowly trying to fundraise for a short film trilogy, which is called Make Me Smile. And there's 3 different. We're just doing the first one or wanting to, and it's fundraising for it. There's a GoFundMe, there's a Facebook page, all that stuff. or even just through Patreon, and it's highlights the Me Too movement,
Right,
but it's
okay.
in a horror film theme. So
Okay.
it's entertaining, yet you're thinking,
It's very intriguing.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what we're trying to fundraise for that.
All
And
right.
who knows what else? I know there's a lot of people that are wanting to send scripts and see them get done.
Wes
One of
that
our-
came
yeah.
from below.
Yeah, our one of our co-producers is writing a bunch of stuff. And I think another thing that was really, I'm getting a lot of feedback from Cafe Girl Productions, people that work with us, is like there's an element on set of self-care, and there's a lot of people that have been hurt in other capacities in theater or in film, and they've turned away from it, and then they come back, and there's that element that they feel rewarded, and they can start being creative again.
Right.
And they can start feeling like they're being heard, and that's really cool for me to hear. Or they
Yeah.
they can be themselves. They're shy elsewhere, and then suddenly they can just be themselves, and that's always
Yeah, we
makes
really
me
try
feel
to
good.
foster a safe and welcoming environment.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
And
to
if they're
us.
not, we show them the door. Literally. Get out. Get a
Well,
hook.
it's been, I know I've certainly enjoyed working on the different productions for Cafe Girl, and it's been fun,
Aw.
and getting to meet and know everyone. And so I thank you both for the opportunity to always come in and be able to help.
Thank
And,
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. Yay, David.
Yeah, well,
Yay,
I do what I can to help my friends. So I thank you, Leah. I thank you, Brittany, for coming on to the show. So we've kind of reached the end of this first show edition of the Small Interview with Glamour Dave. And I thank my guests for coming on and helping out in a pinch situation when another guest canceled on me for Rogue Artisans and Crafters. So, but go ahead and look for Rogue Artisans and Crafters online, and also look for Gems of the Road Valley, another one of my shows with my co-host Cassandra Wass. And so I thank you and say adieu, and we will see you next time on the Small Interview. And that's it for this edition of the Small Interview for tonight. We're always eager to hear what you have to say, so follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and support this show at our Patreon page at patreon.com/glamourdave. You can send us your comments to viewer@glamourdave.com.